Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Magic Gamer 74. I'm your host, Anthony Gamer, and today we're going to continue on discussing the Legends Expansion. In the previous episodes, we have discussed some cards from the Legend Expansion that I think would be great in any deck or in a specific type of deck that you're using, whether it's a commander deck or a regular deck that you're playing with friends. Of course, before we get started, don't forget to check the disclaimer I have in the description below. It'll save both of us a lot of headache. Also, if you like what's being presented here, let me know by subscribing if you haven't already, and give me a like and share if you think it's worth sharing with any of your friends and family, especially others who play Magic. If you'd like to game with me on Arena, my username is ClassicGamer74. You'll see that right here. I look forward to gaming with you in Arena. So without further ado, let's get into great cards from the Legends Expansion.
In the previous episode, I started off discussing artifacts and the lands. So this time, let's go ahead and start off this episode with black. Alright, so let's begin with one of my all-time favorite cards, and a card that up until just recently I was actually playing with. It's a fun card for a black deck, especially my black deck, and that is All Hallows Eve. It casts for 2 colorless and 2 black, and it is exile All Hallows Eve with 2 scream counters on it. At the beginning of your upkeep, if All Hallows Eve is exiled with a scream counter on it, remove a scream counter from it. If there are no more scream counters on it, put it into your graveyard, and each player returns all creature cards from their graveyard to the battlefield. Nice. Now this one is really cool. I like using it with my mono black deck because I've talked about it before on here, but that's the deck where I sacrifice a lot of creatures to build up my Sutured Ghoul. So, you know, if somebody like counters my Sutured Ghoul, I can pull this card out. Yeah, lots of fun. However, to add this card to your collection, it's going to cost you a lot. This card currently is worth around $608, and it was not reprinted. Alright, and next up we have Blight. It casts for 2 black. Enchant land. When enchanted land becomes tapped, destroy it. Oh yeah, that is a fun card to play against somebody who really is having a hard time getting land out. If you'd like to add this to your collection, it's currently cost around $8, and it has been reprinted several times. Alright, and next up we have Carrion Ants. They cast for 2 colorless and 2 black. They are an insect creature with a power of 0/1, but for 1 you can pump them with +1/+1 till end of turn. If you'd like to add this to your collection, it currently is worth around $28, and it has been reprinted several times. Alright, and next up we have probably one of the most expensive cards in this set, and probably the most expensive card I've ever discussed so far, and that is Chains of Mephistopheles, and it is an enchantment that casts for 1 colorless and 1 black. Now listen carefully to the description. If a player would draw a card except the first one they draw in each of their draw steps, that player discards a card instead. If the player discards a card this way, they draw a card. If the player doesn't discard a card this way, they mill a card. Whew. Yeah, this can really make somebody's life difficult and confusing, but cool card, and I love the artwork. However, this card is hell expensive. Right now, as of March of 2023, this card will cost you $1,292.74. But there is a card that is quite similar to it, as I'm always trying to find inexpensive cards that are similar to very expensive cards for you guys and for me. I found one. Alright, and that card is Cyan of Hollister. It casts for the same price, 1 colorless, 1 black. It's not identical, but it's about the closest you're going to get. Commander creatures you own have the The first time you would draw a card each turn. Instead, look at the top 2 cards of your library. Put one of them into your graveyard and the other one on top of your library. Then draw a card. Yeah, it's not the same, and it probably only works in a commander deck, but that's about the closest I can find. If you can think of any cards that are similar to Chains of Mephistopheles that costs a hell of a lot less, let me know in the comments section below. It would be greatly appreciated. And next we have a very, very useful card. That is Darkness. It is an instant that casts for 1 black. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. In other words, it's a fog, but for black. If you'd like to get a hold of this card, it's currently worth around $13, and it has been reprinted a couple times. And next we have another fun card. That is Demonic Torment. This enchantment casts for 2 colorless and 1 black. Enchanted creature can't attack. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt by enchanted creature. Oh yeah, this is really going to ruin someone's day. If you'd like to add this card to your collection, be ready to pay right around $5, and it has not been reprinted. Alright, and if you thought all the angels were white, well, this will prove you wrong. This is the Fallen Angel. She casts for 3 colorless and 2 black. She flies. She's a 3/3. Sacrifice a creature. Fallen Angel gets +2/+1 until end of turn. Oh yeah, great card. Have used it many times in a variety of different decks. If you'd like to add this to your collection, she will currently cost you around $14, but she has been reprinted several times. Alright, and next we have the first glyph. There are actually glyphs for every color, and this is the Glyph of Doom. It is an instant that casts for 1 black. Choose target wall creature. At this turn's next end of combat, destroy all creatures that were blocked by that creature this turn. So, in other words, this is pretty much turning your wall into giving it death touch. Pretty cool, actually, as walls are kind of making a comeback nowadays. If you'd like to add this card to your collection, it's currently worth 25 cents, and it has not been reprinted. Next up, we have another expensive card that is also a great card to have, and that is Hell's Caretaker. It's a 1/1 creature that casts for 3 colorless and 1 black. Tap, sacrifice a creature, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only during your upkeep. Oh yeah. If you'd like to add this card to your collection, it's going to cost you a little bit. This card is currently worth around $65, but it has been reprinted several times. Alright, and next up we have Inferno Medusa. She casts for 3 colorless, 2 black. She is a Gorgon, a 2/4 creature. Whenever Inferno Medusa blocks a creature, destroy that creature at end of combat. Whenever Inferno Medusa becomes blocked by a non-wall creature, destroy that creature at end of combat. So she has death touch. If you were playing a green and black deck, throw a lure on her and attack and wipe out all your opponent's creatures. If you'd like to add this card to your collection, she currently will cost you around $11, and she has not been reprinted. Alright, and next up we have Lost Soul. This must have been the most common card in Legends, because I just have them coming out of my ears. Honestly, I don't think I have more of any other card from Legends than this one. And this is Lost Soul. It casts for 1 colorless and 2 black. It's a 2/1. It has Swamp Walk. Even if your opponents don't have swamps, it's still a neat card to use, honestly. If you'd like to add this to your collection, it'll cost you around 77 cents, and it has been reprinted several times. And next we have Pit Scorpion. I just played with this card not too long ago, actually. This is a 1/1 creature that casts for 2 colorless and 1 black. Whenever Pit Scorpion deals damage to a player, that player gets a poison counter. And again, a player with 10 or more poison counters loses the game. Yep, poison has also kind of made a comeback here recently. I've noticed in Arena, a lot of people are playing with cards that have poison. So if you'd like to add this to your collection, it will cost you 31 cents, and it has been reprinted several times. Okay, and next up we have another expensive card, but a really cool one too. And that is the Abyss. It's an enchantment that casts for 3 colorless and 1 black. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, destroy target non-artifact creature that player controls of their choice. It can't be regenerated. This is really good if you're playing against people that always seem to get powerful creatures out early in the game. Well, this is really going to ruin their day. However, this card is going to set you back a lot. It currently is worth around $810 and was not reprinted. All right, and next up we have another a little bit on the expensive side, and that is the Wretched. Picture kind of reminds me of someone I used to work with. Anyway, it is a 2/5 demon. It casts for 3 colorless and 2 black. At end of combat, gain control of all creatures blocking the Wretched for as long as you control the Wretched. Alright, if you'd like to get this card for your collection, it's going to cost you a little bit. It is currently worth around $55, but it has been reprinted a few times. Alright, and next up we have another expensive card, and that is Underground Dreams. Now, this is an enchantment that casts for 3 black. Whenever an opponent draws a card, Underworld Dreams deals 1 damage to that player. Yeah, it's a great card. It's a little on the expensive side. If you'd like to add this card to your collection, it currently costs around $78, but it has been reprinted several times. All right, and the next one is a card I really do love to play with and have it in my black deck, and that is Vampire Bats. The 0/1 creatures cast for 1 black, and spend 1 black. Vampire Bats get +1/+0 until end of turn. Activate no more than twice each round. If you'd like to get this little creature for your deck or for your Legends set, it'll only cost you around 40 cents, and it has been reprinted several times. Okay, and next up we have The Walking Dead. This is a 1/1 creature that casts for 1 colorless and 1 black. But the best part of all is it regenerates for 1 black. Always nice to have a black creature that regenerates. If you'd like to add this to your deck, it is currently price valued at $1.21. Okay, and next up we have Wall of Shadows. This creature casts for 1 colorless and 2 black. It's a defender, which means it can't attack. It's a 0/1, but listen, prevent all damage that would be dealt to Wall of Shadows by creatures it's blocking. Wall of Shadows can't be the target of spells that can target only walls or of abilities that can target only walls. So more or less you got yourself an indestructible blocker here. If you'd like to add this to any deck that you play black with, it won't cost you much. It's actually worth 47 cents, and it was reprinted 1 time for Chronicles. All right, and next we have our last black card, and that is Wall of Tombstones. This wall casts for 1 colorless and 1 black. It's a 0/1 defender. At the beginning of your upkeep, change Wall of Tombstone's base toughness to 1 plus the number of creature cards in your graveyard. This effect lasts indefinitely. Cool. If you'd like to add this wall to your any of your decks or your Legends collection, it will cost you around $5. All right, now we're going to move on to the color blue. There's not as many blue cards that I really like from Legends as there were black, but let's go ahead and begin. Our first card for today is Backfire. Now, this card is an enchantment that casts for 1 blue. Enchant creature. Whenever enchanted creature deals damage to you, Backfire deals that much damage to that creature's controller. Oh, yeah. All right, if you'd like to add this card to your collection, it's currently worth around $3.26, and it has been reprinted 1 time. All right, next up we have Boomerang. Now, in my opinion, this card should be in every blue deck, but that's my opinion. And this instant casts for 2 blue, and it return target permanent to its owner's hand. If you would like to put this in your blue deck, which you should, this card will cost you $1.12, and it has been reprinted several times. Okay, next up we have Brinehag. She looks like somebody I used to date. Anyway, this creature, this 2/2 creature, casts for 2 colorless and 2 blue. When Brinehag dies, change the base power and toughness of all creatures that dealt damage to it this turn to 0/2. This effect lasts indefinitely. So, yeah, it's kind of like a Sorcerer's Queen, but, if anything attacks her and she dies, then they become 0/2s for the rest of the game. So, definitely, I would say a good way to use this is, again, use a lure, attack your opponent, and all of their creatures become 0/2s. And again, that could be really useful against somebody that plays with huge creatures, because you've just ruined their day. If you'd like to add this card to your blue deck or any deck that plays blue, it will only cost you about $4. Okay, and next up we have another fun blue card. However, this one's quite expensive, as is typical with a set like Legends. This is Field of Dreams. This world enchantment casts for 1 blue, and players play with the top card of their libraries revealed. Yep, it can make for a very predictable game, to say the least. This card will currently cost you about $140, and it was not reprinted. All right, next up we have Force Spike, another card that I feel should be in every blue deck. Again, I believe that you should gear your blue decks towards counters. Counter, counter, counter. This instant will cast for 1 blue and counter target spell unless its its controller pays 1 colorless. If you'd like to add this to your blue deck, as you should, it will cost you around $2, and it has been reprinted several times. All right, next we have another fun but expensive card, and that is Land Equilibrium. This enchantment casts for 2 colorless and 2 blue. If an opponent who controls at least as many lands as you do would put a land onto the battlefield, that player instead puts that land onto the battlefield, then sacrifices a land. Oh boy. As much fun as this card is, it's quite expensive. To get a hold of this card, it will cost you around $234. All right, and next up we have another fun card that's a little on the expensive side, and that is Reset. This instant casts for 2 blue, and cast this spell only during an opponent's turn after their upkeep step. Untap all lands you control. Oh yeah. If you'd like to add this card to your blue deck, and if you can afford it, and I recommend it, this card will cost you around $32, and it has not been reprinted. All right, and next up we have a card that I just love the artwork, and I love the card too, but that artwork is so cool. And this card is Silhouette. This instant casts for 1 colorless and 1 blue. Choose target creature. If a spell or ability that targets that creature would cause a source to deal damage to that creature this turn, prevent this damage. This is a nice card, especially if you've got a creature that you don't want to lose, or if you're one of those people out there who have creature love. And don't tell me you're not out there, because I've seen you all on Arena. This is the card for you. To add this card to one of your existing decks, it will only cost you about $5. All right, and next up we have Spectral Cloak. This enchantment will cost you 2 blue. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature has Shroud as long as it's untapped. And again, that means it can't be the target of spells or abilities. So what good is the creature then? Well, imagine if you were playing a blue and white deck. There are some angels that have vigilance, and this would definitely be a card to put on them. So, yep. Just word to the wise. To add this card to your collection, it will cost you $5. All right, next up we have Wall of Vapor. This 0/1 creature casts for 3 colorless and 1 blue. It's a defender. Again, it can't attack. Walls don't attack. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to Wall of Vapor by creatures it's blocking. So it's definitely going to be there for you when you need it. and you don't have to worry about it getting killed unless they have another spell that targets walls. But, for combat's sake, you couldn't ask for a better blue wall. If you like to add this card to your blue deck, it will only cost you 26 cents, and it has been reprinted one time. And our final card for today, yay, and this is the Zephyr Falcon, a card I really love to play with, on Arena and in real life. With actual cards. This flying creature casts for 1 colorless and 1 blue. It has vigilance, which is a good thing. Definitely one that you could use that spell I just talked about a little while back. You could put it on this creature. If you'd like to add this creature to your deck, good news, it's not going to cost you a lot. This card is currently worth around $1, and it has been reprinted several times. All right, in our next episode, we will continue on with other great cards from the Legends expansion. All right, Planeswalkers, that brings this episode to a close. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Until then, I will meet you in the arena. Bye.